Hey guys, so let's get started on our supplies for this beautiful and amazing pie. So you're going to need a pie pan. This one's from the dollar store, and I also wanted to show you a second version how you can do it if you just kind of had minimal supplies or maybe not the foam clay. So you're going to go ahead and get your pie pans, and I am spray painting them satin black. As you see, this one's from Hobby Lobby, and again the pie pans from the dollar store, and those are just the aluminum small like little pie pans that you get at the dollar store in a 3-pack. Here are some molds. These are ice cream scoop molds. I found these on Amazon. They were mine were a set of 4. I've seen them as a set of 3, and you just stick the foam clay in there, and oh my gosh, they are perfect. They look just like ice cream scoops. So I got those. Again, you don't need them. You can make your own. You could use spackle and just scoop it up and let it dry overnight, but these are just 10 times quicker. My foam clay is from Glitz and Glue. She has her own line and she has an Etsy shop, so if you look that up. Otherwise you can get foam clay on Amazon. There's plenty of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make some ice cream scoops. I'm just using the silicone mold just like normal, and I have a previous tutorial where I show you how to use silicone molds. Super easy. You don't need anything to make them release, and they're just great. A lot of bakers use them, and now fake bakers use them, and it just holds the shape really well. They pop out quick. If you can't get yours to release really quickly, like once you put that foam in and kind of pack it in, maybe it's still sticky or it's just not releasing, throw it in the freezer for maybe 5 minutes or so, and it should pop out just perfectly. I don't use any release spray or anything like that, so I really never had an issue, but if you do, just stick it in the freezer. You see me rolling those balls? That's because we're going to create the inside of the pie, which are kind of like cherries. Make them whatever color you want. Just make a bunch of them, whatever size you think you're going to need for your pie pan. I did probably like 20 of each color. And then these are the ice cream tubes. I just wanted you to see what they look like when they dry and the color. These are the balls that we rolled out. These are going to resemble kind of like cherries or the inside of a pie. So those are those dried, and then we are going to take our pans. This is again the 3-pack from the dollar store of that aluminum one, and then our metal pie pan. You're going to need some cardboard. This is just from the inside of a paper towel roll, but something to create some height so that when we put the top over, it doesn't just sink, right? It needs a little support. So I'm just measuring out the height that I want. Now obviously the aluminum, the little ones, come with that kind of that topper that you push down when you're packing like a meal, like picture takeout, right? Those have that circle already included, but our pen form that we bought from the Dollar Tree, the metal one, does not. So we are just going to create something to support when we put those clay balls in, and you'll see I don't want to push the clay all the way down, because what would be the point of having the support, right? You want to create a small enough structure on the bottom, like a base, so that when you put the ball on top, it just kind of sits on it. It doesn't go inwards, if that makes sense. So just figure that out, and then you're going to go around and glue a bunch of those down. And as you see, just like that is how I was explaining, so that the balls just fit kind of on top, not going through. And that's because we want our pie, you want to be able to look at it and see into it, so when we have those eyeballs, they pop and really kind of have like a spooky appearance. So we just want to create the height for that, as opposed to them being at the bottom of the pan. And this is that circle I was talking about. I'm just going to go ahead and take that, and then you'll see that I have felt, black felt. You can use green. They have green at the dollar store. They have all sorts of prints. You could even paint it. You don't have to use like fabric. You'll see what I mean when I get to that part. Here's the felt. You don't have to use fabric. You could just use paint just as fine. But I had it on hand and I wanted to use it. So I used the black, and I just went around and as you see, I folded over and just create, the base. You could just draw the circle and cut it out and glue it on, but I like to take the hard route, so I'm just going around, and you'll see I glue it down, and then we will eventually glue that onto the aluminum foil. But this is just, again, you don't have to do it like this. It's just how I do things, like I said, I do things the hard way. I gotta learn to simplify, and then I'm just cutting these so that I can get a nice glue, like the round edge, as opposed to just kind of like rough edges or where it doesn't hit too flat. So that's what you see me doing here. All right, so let's take our topper and we're going to go ahead and hot glue that to the base, and I'm just going around. I used low temp on this, to be honest with you, because I didn't know how the hot glue would do with the aluminum. I wasn't sure if it would like eat through or just what it would do. So I used low temp on this and it was just fine. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And again, this is creating the base. You could use paint, like I said, and just paint, let it dry, and then you'll see kind of, you know how takeout food is, where you kind of have to push that aluminum down around the sides. That's what I did, and it also creates security on that too, because it's holding it down now. And then we are going to move on and work with our metal pan. So I went ahead and rolled out some black clay balls separately than what I had recorded. Just I felt like I didn't have enough of the orange and the purple. These colors are regular purple and mandarin if you buy Glitz and Glue clay. So I went ahead and just put some black ones in there, just kind of for spacers, just in case. So you see me using the eyeballs. Those are from the dollar store, and I'm going to go ahead and place those. I decided I was going to use 3, that was appropriate. I'm going to go ahead and place those kind of where I want them to be on the pie. I don't want them to be too close, and I don't want too many. I just kind of spaced them out so that if it was a pie and I looked at it, it would be like, ooh, is that an eyeball? How freaky. So you just see me playing with that, and then we're going to go ahead and hot glue those in place. And then the same is going to apply for the purple and the orange balls. We're just going to space them out. You might have to stack some to create some height, because you know when you look at a cherry pie or any pie, nothing's like perfect, right? They're kind of spaced out, the cherries. Some are stacked, some are probably not as large as others. You want it to look realistic in a way. So that's what you're going to do, is you're just kind of stack those around and picture like you're looking at it. And the lattice work that you'll see we do eventually, and you've seen this from the green on the picture, we're going to layer that over the top. So you just kind of want to figure, if you're laying that lattice work down, the pie crust, you want to remember the middle that is going to have the ice cream on top. So you don't want to put too much there because you're not going to see it. You want to figure, if I have the lattice work over, what do I not want to cover, so that you can kind of figure out those balls that you're more or less worried about. Those are the ones you want to see. So you want to make sure you're spacing those correctly. So just kind of figure that out. And most of you, if you're watching this video, you're a creative, so you already know how to do that, I'm sure. But you just want to go ahead and figure it out before you obviously lay that lattice work down, because then you're gonna have to rip it all off, and nobody wants to do that. So have fun with it. Don't freak out too much. Everything will work out perfectly. My pie did not come out perfect. My edges are not symmetrical, but I kind of like that, right? Because no pie is perfect. So have fun with it. Do what you want to do. Use the colors you want to use. And this is kind of how yours should look, or whatever you're making. I'm sure it looks perfect, but this is how mine came out. And as you see, it looks great, right? It's a bunch of different layers, and some are small, some are larger. So I'm going to go ahead and at this point use my Tacky Glue. It's just regular Tacky Glue. I think it's from that brand Aleene's. I may have gotten it at the dollar store. I think I did. So I'm using Tacky Glue, which dries clear. Make sure it says dries clear, because the worst would be, and I've done this before, when the worst would be is it dries white, and then like it's ruined because it's not clear. But just make sure it says clear. And then I'm using my diamond dust because I want it to kind of have like a little candy appearance or frosted look, kind of just like a cake would. So all I'm doing is taking the Tacky Glue and going around. And again, it's not perfection. I'm not worried about every single little crevice. I just want it to look a little glazed. So I'm going to go ahead and use my sponge brush and just go around all the edges as best as I can, just to cover it. And then I'm going to use my diamond dust to sprinkle some of that on, and it might take a few times to get it all on because there's so many of them. But just take your time, put on a podcast, watch a show, and just coat your little pie as best as possible all around. Use your diamond dust, make it as sparkly as you want. If you want to use it, use the diamond dust. If you don't, you don't. But you'll see me doing that here. So now we are going to take some of our foam clay. Now this is going to be the pie crust for our aluminum tray. Remember, the smaller one. So I'm just using my Glitz & Glue foam clay, tongue twister, and I'm rolling that out. All I did was roll it out just like Play-Doh when you were a kid, or if you're a baker, you just take it, kind of make it into a ball and just roll it out with your hands into like that snake form. And you'll see I just keep doing that rolling. That's how I got it this small. And I'm going to go around the sides. I'm just using regular hot glue to put that in place. And again, this isn't perfect, right? You're just going to go around and then put that around just like you normally would. If you're making a pie or anything, you're just pressing it down. Do a little at a time just so that foam adheres with the hot glue, because hot glue tends to dry really quick. So you'll see I go around like that in a circle, and then I cut off the excess at the end if there is any. And then we're going to go ahead and use our thumb, as you'll see in just a few seconds, to create that indent. So I'm just using my thumb to go along. You could use, if you have any tools or anything like that you want to use, but I'm just going ahead and pressing my thumb lightly, and it creates that little look that you see there, and I like it. You could use a fork, which we'll do on the foam pan, or you could pinch it or whatever. You could look up different techniques, but that's just what I decided to go with. It's simple, it works, and I like it. And then we're going to go ahead and use hot glue again to press that foam down just to secure it. Kind of popped off the aluminum a little, but once I put the second layer, it worked just great and it stuck. So we're going to go right around the edges and just secure that again. Alrighty, so now we layered that with some tacky glue just to gloss it up a little bit. We're going to set that aside and let it dry. We're going to use our neon green Glitz & Glue foam clay, and we are going to roll it out. This is going to be for our metal pan. This one's going to be the larger one that we're doing the eyeballs in. So I'm just, as you see, rolling it out. This is exactly how I did the purple one. This is how I do the one we're doing now, and a lot of other projects. So a lot of times you just start with this kind of shape, and you can make your lollipops like this. You can make little candies. So generally the shape we work with a lot, right? So we're going to go ahead and roll that out. I'm just kind of figuring out how much I'm going to need, and I actually thought I need a little bit more, so I'm going to add and then roll out again. And then we're going to start and glue that down just like we did the purple one. And then you'll see I use a fork. Again, you don't have to use a fork. You could do any type of design you want or pie crust that you want, but I just went ahead along the edges that you'll see and just used the fork and kind of got just like little indents in it, and I really like that look. So you'll see that here in just a few minutes. How cute does this look? I just love it. I definitely like the fork method. I think that it's different. It doesn't look like that typical pie crust, but it's simple because you don't want to do too much with the eyeballs and the quote unquote cherries and the inside of the pie. You just kind of want it to be simple. So I really like it. And then I go ahead and I just go around the sides and kind of even out the foam and kind of make it look like a little elevated and kind of like rough around the edges. So I love it. I hope yours come out just as amazing. And then all I did was, and I kind of forgot to record this part of the video, but all I did was roll out some more green clay, and then I used my that's just a pizza pie cutter, and I got it in long rectangles the length of the pie. So I think it was 12 inches I did of each little strip. Again, just rolled out the clay so it was flat, and then just rolled out some long strips, kind of like you would do like paper crafts in school. So I went and kind of placed those horizontally how I wanted. Now see how I'm kind of making sure I don't cover the eye, because obviously that's why we put them there. We want to be able to see them. So I'm just kind of strategizing where I'm going to put my clay, and then I use some water to kind of smooth out the edges. Just keep a little bowl next to you, and then the foam does really well with water, just a little amount, just to kind of smooth out the little imperfections, or if you have little spots, or just whatever it is. So you see me doing that. And then some of the strips are a little longer, so I end up cutting them. Some you could just kind of push under that side and smooth it out, just like you see there. But just do what works for you. Make as many little strips as you want. Some pies have 4, some have 6, some have 2, whatever you want to do. For me, I did 4 in both directions, and just space them out how I thought look best. Alrighty, so back to our little pan with our aluminum foil. We're gonna take our little ice cream scoops. This is the orange and the yellow and the green. And then I had from a past tutorial, I had little sprinkles that I had made and I just stored them like in a little baggie. So I had some of those, so I'm happy to be able to use some of those. Those are just kind of like the foam clay, same as the ice cream scoops, that glitz and glow foam clay. I just rolled it out into little circles and made little sprinkles. So that's all that is. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of position those. Some of these are just little leftover candies that I made from past tutorials or had extra foam clay because we didn't want to let that go to waste. These are little bats. They come in a pack. I think it's up 6 at the dollar store, 4 or 6. So we're going to put those. That's kind of going to be like our little topper. So here we are going to go ahead and get our scoops. And again, these are from the silicone molds. They dried. It took maybe 12 hours to completely dry both sides. So they are ready to go. So I'm just positioning them and figuring out how I want to put them. You could put them however you want. You could stack them. If you're going to stack them, I would say use a toothpick and kind of layer them and use hot glue in between just so that they stick well. But I'm going to go ahead and use my hot glue, secure those down, and use one of my candies before I place the bat on top. I decided to let's go ahead and use our Tacky Glue again, just a little bit on each one of those ice cream scoops, just to keep it glossy but also secured as well. It works as a good adhesive, and again, it dries clear, so just a little bit on that. So we're going to go ahead and put that little toothpick that you see into the pink. Just as I told you before, you want to use toothpicks just for extra security. So I hot glued that in and then glued that to the top of my pie. And look how adorable. I just love it. And that spider, same thing. I used a toothpick to the bottom where that little orange piece is on him, and then secure that to the foam. It just really works to keep it extra secure. And then I went ahead and coated everything with my Tacky Glue, just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and let this set at least a couple of days, guys, just so that that foam is nice and dry. But oh my gosh, look how amazing they look. I love the bat. He's so cute. And I just, oh my gosh, I love the way this came out. It was an idea I had in my head, and I just added those eyeballs. I thought that added a little whimsy touch. So here they are, all done. Oh my gosh, they're adorable. I hope you'll make some for the upcoming holidays for Halloween. Let me know if you do. Feel free to tag me on the OK Creative Kind on Instagram, and I hope you'll let me know that you tried these. I hope you all have a blessed week. Take care. Keep crafting. It's good for the heart. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.